Hello, I'm back with more random bits of information. They talk about like doing like a free energy thing where it's like the energy grid of tomorrow is no grid at all. Nikola Tesla already thought of that. That is an idea that was already patented by him. It wasn't put into place because it would eliminate power companies. So there would be nobody making money from it. Because what would be the point? And what people don't realize is we already have a total of maybe, let's see, you got the sun, lightning, wind, and water. Four renewable resources, four energy. Only one we can't figure out how to harness, which is the one that you're supposed to be looking at how to harness, is lightning. Lightning carries more energy than an average household. That's why in cases of a lightning storm, you're told to turn off all your electronics because it will literally break them. They will burst. Most of them will burst, others won't. It depends on what it is. Um, and the lack of water, guess what? Quickest way to do that is if you're getting water from the sea, is you take a pot that has a cup-like structure in the middle of it, fill the surrounding area with the salt water, put a lid that dips down with a cone, so as the water condenses, hits that, it'll come down and drip into the cup in the middle. Now, this will allow you to have two things at once. One is salt, the other is water. So now you can season your food and you can have a drink with it. Simple, easy, inexpensive. Now you no longer need freaking oil to power any kind of pump to filter out the water. But that would cost no money, very little money at all, and nobody would be able to make any money off of it. And what people don't realize is if you're thinking of ways to transmit electricity wirelessly from one place to another, why not try to figure out how to make it so that way now you can move water throughout the country without having to use pipes or anything. You know. And another thing people don't realize is we're not running out of water in most places. It's just they don't have the money to dig down far enough to hit the aquifers. All throughout the world, there are aquifers underground that we could tap into and utilize for water, but we don't because in most cases there's either no money for us to use to get to it, or there's no way to figure out where it's at. And it's irritating. Now, another thing people could do is like one of the things is robotics. You know, robotics has never been science fiction. Actually, in many cases, there has been evidence of even robotic technology throughout history. You know, when you look at a suit of armor, you don't think they're a human. You think a mechanical machine, which actually is the true sense of the thing. There's even been powered robots that have actually been recorded throughout history. Most people don't know about them because they are removed from history books and whatnot. But there have been cultures that built them. Now, we're trying our hardest to build these things when people who with less technology have been able to build them out of just using just steam. No electricity, steam. No, granted, it didn't do much of a function other than move in a straight line, but hey, it worked with very little effort. I didn't have to rig up the generator and the gears for it. Only, only thing that would have to be done with something like that is somebody would have to take that idea, add a computer to it, so that way it can actually do functions. Funny thing is, kids are allowed to build their own forms of robots with lots of different things. Most things that they tell us to that do this are Legos. Legos do it. You can build your own robot kits that do it. But nobody thinks of these things. because nobody really knows about them. And when you look at things like that, you wonder what is wrong with these people. You know, and it takes like a billion scientists to come up with a single idea that matches, varies, contradicts, and it makes no sense at all. Why? Because they're not scientists. They're just average people that had the money to be able to get to where they were. The true scientist is that guy working out of his garage who managed to build the atomic bomb out of absolutely nothing. You know, there's people throughout the world that have created atomic generators that were only built off random scraps of materials throughout their neighborhood scrapyards and their house. In some cases, they're not even atomic; they're fusion. They're not fission, but fusion generators, which is the cleanest form of generator we can get. But we can't somehow figure out how to harness the heat of the sun to be able to do something like that. Another thing we need to do is figure out how to actually harness the energy that is produced by an atom. It's not the splitting of the atom that causes such an explosive reaction. It's actually when the atom is split, all the energy is stored up is what's being released. What we need to do is figure out how to harness the energy from that atom without having to split it. That would really prove if those people are true scientists, because they would figure that out. I mean, we use uh, particle accelerators in order to smash them against things, just to figure stuff out about them. But, you know, somehow we can't figure out how to use that exact same way to power things. And there's a thing about, I just got done watching this video where this guy was talking about a infrared uh, device that you just stick over your eye and you can see at night. That's already been thought of. Hell, I thought of something better. There's a contact. It was literally just a contact lens you stuck on your eye that allowed you to see just about anything. Would it be perfect for military use? Hell yes. You know, because now not only can they see at night, at day, in the water, through snowstorms, sandstorms, but they can also zoom in on a bit and zoom out. You know, people don't realize that these ideas have already been thought of. It's the problem is with them is how are you going to develop it into a usable piece of technology? But another thing people aren't realizing is stuff from movies has to be based off something already existing. Things in history books about legends and myths have to be based off of something seen, something passed on to the ancient art of speaking or storytelling. It is the world's biggest lost art there is because nobody knows how to do it anymore. Nobody sits down with the neighborhood kids and tells them stories about what happened in the good old days. Why? Because they feel that nobody cares. In other words, everybody who wants to hear about the good old days where gas was only a nickel a gallon and you could buy not a carton, a Hope chest full of soda for just a penny. Oh, would love to hear stories about that. Do I get to? No. Why? Because now those people who talk about those things are considered senile and have Alzheimer's, which are actually made up conditions. When your grandfather starts talking weird, it's not because he's senile or has Alzheimer's. It's because he's remembering a time before we were there. In most cases, they're remembering something that happened to them that was post-traumatic, which in a lot of cases get put way back in the brain and locked away and stored and never touched again. And it's just funny because people don't realize that they're idiots for deciding that grandpa needs to go to the old folks home where people can watch him. And it's just, I just find this shit funny. Please give me the resources and the equipment along with the personnel, and I could develop a contact lens that can allow you to see infrared, you can see, let you see thermal, let you see through material, let you zoom in on people in a distance, and on top of things, this is the really funny one, allow you to use the idea of hood, which is where information gets displayed on either your person, of your person, or of your teammates, right where you can see it. And it's funny that we see this idea throughout games. We could easily do things like that with very little problem. Do we? No. Why? Not cost effective. They would spend more money saving the lives of soldiers, in which nobody would ever have to buy a piece of equipment ever again because that piece of equipment they already got will probably no longer obsolete. You know, we have the ability to build like plasma fuel destructors and shields and crap like that, but do we? No, because they feel there is no money in it. In most cases, once it's powered up, you can turn off the central power system and it will remain on for a couple of hours. And it's funny because nobody thinks of these things as a way to make, only thinks of these things as a way to make money, not as a way to help people. You know, harness lightning. There's your renewable energy source. You know, develop a lightning rod that when struck doesn't put that electricity into the ground, but in fact puts it into a storage device so it can later be converted or sends it off to be converted into usable energy. Nobody has thought of this. Nikola Tesla probably did. That was part of the reason why he wanted to send electricity through the ground that wouldn't cost nothing. His device probably utilized that idea. You know, wireless energy. Now you no longer need those pesky telephone poles outside your house. Why? Because now you can send your energy throughout your country, your community, your whatever. And it's just, I find it funny because none of these people are actually smart. I have a 137 IQ. Does that make me truly smart or a genius? No, it's the way I can use information that actually makes me smart. I comprehend more information that is given to me at a single point in time than any of those scientists out there can. If I decide to speak 30 words a second, those supposed scientists would look at me as if I'm retarded because I just came strung out a theory that they didn't think of, but also could not understand because their intelligence is not above 100. It is actually about 50 or 90. They were just gifted enough to be able to put things together and say, "Hey, it works." That was it. I can do that too. I actually have a knack for taking things apart, putting them back together. Ask my parents. I can do that with my eyes blindfolded with the hand behind my back. When I put things back together, it'll have less pieces in it than what were already in there, and work either just as well or even better than what it did when I got a hold of it in the first place. But hey, I'm not smart. I'm psychotic. I realize this, I have noticed this, and I have accepted it as a part of my life. But it doesn't bother me in any bit, and it doesn't cause me any issues because of the fact that I've utilized it as a way to do things. Alright, so you guys have fun.